Hi everyone. My voice is back in crap, so I will be talking this time. Yay! So this week I'd like to talk about something that is a bit of an awkward topic for me. So, the topic of asexual disclosure. One reason why this is awkward is for me is because I, not too long ago, decided that I would be romantically celibate, in that I don't really want to date anyone unless I feel like I'm comfortable with and mature enough to do it. I don't really feel like I'm that mature of a person and capable of that kind of thing. Understandably, this pisses off my romantically inclined invisible psychic octopus, so I just feed him these things that makes him happy, apparently. So the question of whether or not I should reveal myself before dating someone is kind of moot point, because I don't. But then there's the other fact that the question about that extremely bothers me. Really bothers me. And for a while I was trying to figure out how to say why and how exactly it bothers me, and then I realized that it sounded very similar to a lot of bullshit that I have had to put up with in my life and things. And there's one sentence in the history of mankind that pretty much explains, as like a metaphorical explanation of why this bothers me, and I'm going to put it here and all will be clear. There's a legitimate point somewhere within that sentence, but it's framed in a way by a complete idiot who completely missing the point of the legitimate question that is hidden underneath like layers and layers of asshattery. Mostly because it's like, okay, so I'm asexual, and the question isn't coming from the perspective of understanding that relationships can be built, like that relationships can exist between a sexual and asexual person. The question is coming from the perspective that asexuals and sexuals are never meant to be, and that asexuals should just learn how to live with the fact that they're never going to have a relationship with someone if they're honest with themselves, which... And also it's this whole idea that we can't be happy because we're just horrible people when we inflict our asexual tendencies on other people. Oh my goodness, we must repent and reveal ourselves as, and sparing the sexual public from our horrible lack of sexual attraction. All sorts of things, and that's bothersome in several ways. I can't really answer it because I want the question to be rephrased. It's like, there's another example of this in history. One of those catch-22-ish questions where you're like, no, So during the Japanese internment camp, there's a loyalty questionnaire. Really dumb. It was designed to quote-unquote test the loyalty of the Japanese American citizens that they put in internment, which horrible. So the two questions, which were really idiotic, were questions 27 and 28. They're infamous because 27 was the willingness to serve in the U.S. Armed Forces, and 28, willingness to swear unqualified allegiance to the United States and swear allegiance to any other nation or government. These are really dumb questions, because, for one, a lot of the people that got asked this question were women, and at this time, women were not allowed to serve in the military, so they couldn't answer yes to number 27 because they couldn't serve in the military. And number 28, the whole question implied, if they answered yes, it implied that they already had an allegiance to Japan, which they didn't. So it's it was a stupid question. They were stupid questions, and they came from a background of trying to basically demonize people and say, guess what? We want you to see things our way, and we want you to basically admit to being a bad person or you know, a non-American citizen. But so a lot of people said no because they were dumb questions. And obviously I don't think that the question of Japanese internment and asexual disclosure are quite the same thing, but this is supposed to be kind of like a parallel-ish thing, because the question of asexual disclosure is not coming from us. We're not really concerned about that. I don't think that a lot of us think of this as like something that we need to say, oh yes, we should. We don't really ask ourselves this question because we don't really care about it. It's not a big deal to us. But it's coming from the sexual community asking us to basically reveal ourselves in a way that, you know, it bothers me. It really does. And I don't know. I'm not going to give it's one of those things where I don't want to give an answer to this question, because I think that answering it is legitimizing the fact that, you know, we shouldn't. It's I don't think it does entirely, but I know that it's not something that I want to. You know, I don't have to give an answer for this question. It's not. I'm not supposed to. I don't have to. You know, and I don't think that anyone should have to put themselves in a position where this question, or the question of whether or not they should, you know, come out to someone in order to spare that person their whatever is really fair. And I know that it's not just for asexual people, it's for a lot of people. And when they're coming into a relationship, I don't think that there are a lot of times where people get told you should tell someone this kind of thing before you go into the relationship. And I think that it's a horrible precedent, because I think that there are some things that if you really want to be in that relationship with that person, you shouldn't care. And it's so, as far as asexual disclosure is concerned, I'm not answering that question. I'm not gonna answer. I'm not gonna say yes or no, because it's bullshit. See you next week.